Are you confused and overwhelmed about your role in all the craziness that is being a dad? Are you struggling to create the life you hope for? Are you looking for other dads to share your struggles and your triumphs? Or do you just need help waking up in the morning? This is the Wake Up Dad Show.
Hey Dad! Welcome to another episode of the Wake Up Dad Show. This show is dedicated to you, the dad who wants more. More success, time, health, fitness, connection, passion, all around awesomeness. I'm one of your hosts, Dr. Scott, and the other host is...
Dr. Av.
And on today's episode, we're going to be talking about setting the bar of standards for you as a dad out there. And we're really going to focus in on the 5 Ps of the Wake Up Dad movement, and we'll talk a little bit about what some of the standards that are out there right now, and what we think some of the standards should be. Because I think dads out there really are just setting that standard bar like below the knees.
Way too low.
Just like at the ankles, maybe at the big toe.
Well, and they can't even see their big toe.
And they can't. Which is one of the ones that we're going to talk about. You look down, you can't see your big toes, or you can't see something else, boys. There's something wrong. You need to be able to see those things, guys.
So, all right. Well, why don't we start with that one? So let's start with power. So that's that's all around health, and I don't know. What do you think, Scott? I mean, let's talk about what's the bar of health for the average dad? I mean, let's take a look at like average dad diet. What would you say it consists of? Like, how does an average dad typically eat?
Well, I'd say, and let's see if we're right out there for you dads listening. We can't really do a poll, but let's see. Waking up in the morning, already stressed out, already haven't had enough sleep. Then whether the kids are up or not at that stage, exercise is just not even a thought process. Then you head downstairs. You may have a coffee straight away, or a tea or something like that. And then you get out the cereal bowl. The great Wheat Bix. Is it Wheat Bix is a thing over there, or is that
we do have Wheat Bix? Yeah,
Wheat Bix.
I honestly don't know what kind of cereal dads eat over here, but I'm guessing it's something around that. Yeah.
Shreddies or Wheat Bix,
cornflakes,
or cornflakes,
Wheat
something
Bix.
Special K, something that people think may actually be healthy. And if you still think those things are healthy, I think you might have your head stuck under a rock somewhere or something like that if you still think those things are healthy. But typically that, or like toast,
Vector cereal.
Yeah, cereal or toast.
Vector.
And then a coffee might be involved. And then over here it's called morning tea. It's very very civilized over here in Australia, called morning tea, which is like snack time. And then you're going to get some kind of other carbohydrate-laden type food, whether it be a muffin or a croissant or a sausage roll or something along those lines. Another one called over here, Ev, I don't know if you know this one, smoko.
Yeah. No.
You ever heard of smoko?
No.
No?
It sounds bad for you, though.
Actually has nothing. I'm like I'll call it like a born-again Australian or whatever you want to call it. So I've got like ideas about these things, but I've never heard smoko actually have anything to do with smoking. Maybe it did at some point, and that's how it got named that way. But what happens
Coke?
is, no, it's they have like vendor trucks that go around, and so say you've got tradies working on a site, tradesmen. Tradies.
Yes.
There's a lot of Australian terms might come out.
Yeah, actually familiar with this one now. Tradies,
working on a site, and so then the smoko van would come, and they beep their horn or whatever, and then they open up the back, and then the guys can buy their coffee or their snacks or their sausage rolls and all these things, and this truck just drives around from one side to the next to the next to the next, and the boys are able to get their food there. So typically it isn't the best type of food, as you might imagine. Then you go to lunch. What's probably the most popular lunch, do you think? The most popular misconceived healthy lunch. There's one that comes to mind. The one that comes to mind to me is the ultimate sandwich, the Subway sandwich.
Yeah, the Subway sandwich.
Yep.
Or the sliced meat on bread.
Yeah, which is really a Subway sandwich, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. Yeah, exactly.
Except you just pay more for it at Subway.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? So far, if I was to look at what most dads would be doing here, it would be wake up, either have nothing at all. Definitely, a lot of them be starting off with coffee. Toast, the odd one would maybe have like something that has a macronutrient in it, like maybe an egg. And maybe toast, might get a little bit of, carbs in there. Cereal would be one of the top. A lot of them would just straight away leave, go to like Tim Hortons, grab something there, coffee, muffin, donut type thing, lunch, same thing, sandwich, and really the nutritional content so far, what do you think we are at? If we take a look at the body daily need, and let's say we're looking at like 2 p.m., how much do you think like the average person, average dad is getting as far as their nutritional requirements for the entire day?
Oh, it depends on what you're talking about. Carbohydrate, probably 300%.
Sugar? Is that food group?
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, and then fat, probably more than enough fat, but unfortunately the wrong type of fat. And we may or may not get into this in another episode, but guys, by far the worst type of fat is called trans fat and vegetable oils. Like those are the worst type of fat. Most people think, the bad fat, that's the saturated stuff, right? No, guys. Saturated fat can actually be extremely beneficial for you. It's the processed fats, the vegetable oils and trans fats that are the really bad ones. And guess where they are, guys? In your muffins, in your donuts, in your sausage rolls. All those things, all those processed foods are just full of this vegetable oil rubbish stuff. So let's tell the dads what fats are good for them. So coconut oil would be, I'd put that as my top. Coconut oil would be my number one. How about you, Scott? What would be yours? Number one, I would say, would be healthy animal fats.
Good.
And the reason why I say that is just really because it's less processed. Again, this is coming from healthy animals, not the low-grade farmed, grain-fed, etc. Like these are healthy animals I'm talking about. But I'd say that would be number one. But probably a close number two would be in that coconut oil, and I eat a ton of coconut oil. And guys, guess what coconut oil is? It's all saturated fat. Yeah. What? That's bad for you? No,
medium train. Yeah. And that's, like when we look at meat, so, and a lot of, like a lot of people wouldn't, maybe this is something we should touch on because, what is the range of meat? So when you say like, coming from, healthy animals, let's define it. Like how do we pick a healthy, like, let's just do this. What's the ideal for beef? What's the ideal for chicken? And what's the ideal for fish?
Yeah, so I mean, I believe you could probably sort of put chicken and meat in the same sort of idea. You want to have obviously hormone-free and antibiotic-free, which sort of comes under I guess there's a standard. So the top quality gold standard is pasture-fed, free-range, organic. Yeah. Right. So basically, what animals do and eat in the wild. That's the top of the range, and then you can come a little bit further down than that, and they may not be free range, right? But then you still have pasture fed, you still have organic, and then the level can come down to the typical not free range, and when that's the case, they're like sort of caged animals, like caged chickens. And then they may have antibiotics added. They may have growth hormone added to fatten them up. And then they're grain fed to fatten them up. Just like we talked about with us as humans, lots of grains, lots of sugar and carbs fatten us up. That's what they do for animals too when they're extremely unhealthy. And that's why they got to feed them the antibiotics, because they keep getting sick and dying. So they feed them the grains, they get sick, they feed them the antibiotics, grow them, fatten them up, and kill them. That would be like the worst case scenario.
Yeah, and so there's an important distinction here. So just for our viewers know, or listeners know, so I know we have listeners from all around the world, and it's really important to know that organic. So if you're buying organic meat, there's a lot of places where organically graded animals actually are not in their natural environment. So if a farmer was to give organic grain to the cow, that would actually pass, which is a big problem, because you could get like 60% grass fed and then 40% grain fed. Although it's organic grain, challenge is that organic grain is gonna, cows were not designed to eat grains. Last I checked. How about you, Scott?
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't think that's what they're supposed to eat. They're supposed to eat grass,
yes.
Right? And so that's the problem. That's the reason why they get sick, because they're not eating what they're supposed to be eating. And it actually changes a lot of things in the fat profile. So if we look at the ideal ratio for omega fats, we're getting pretty scientific here right now, but it's a really important thing. We're geeking out right now, guys, and this wasn't planned, but yeah, when you take a conventionally grown animal, like what I mean by that is conventional now means that they're factory farmed, they're put in cages, they're fed foods that aren't natural for them. The omega-3 to omega-6 ratio is it's terrible for us. It's pro-inflammatory. The omega-6s are way higher than the omega-3s. And I've heard, ratios of 1 to 60 to 1 to 120. And I think the ideal ratio, Scott, correct me if I'm wrong, it's 1 to 2, omega-3 to omega-6.
Somewhere in that range, 1 to 1, 1 to 2.
Yeah.
Yep, that's my understanding. Yep.
Yeah. Top in the world, grass-fed. What I mean by that, when you get a grass-fed animal, that means that it's year-round. Okay. So if you're getting grass-fed, that's a year-round grass-fed animal. Last I checked anyways, unless if there's somebody listening to this who wants to make a comment on that, you're welcome to. I mean, we're all learning here, but, that's where you're going to get that superior omega, profile, which is super, super important. So, a big reason why people, when they eat a lot of, conventionally grown animals and beef, that are factory farms, that sort of thing, inflammation is going to be way higher. And as Scott mentioned, they're going to have other things likely in the animal that the person's going to have to deal with. So hormones, antibiotics, these sorts of things can be found if they're used. So that's the meat. So when we talk about beef, grass-fed's the top standard. And then, as Scott said, that there's grades below that. But if you want the best, you go for grass-fed.
So the cows over here must be much better than over there, because
way better, man.
We've got grass all year round.
Yeah.
Right. You guys, you guys are stuck in snow half the time. So
That's right.
So yeah, my cow beats yours.
Yeah. So I think I laugh when people say, "Oh, well, we get our whey protein from Canadian cows." It's like, you're kidding, right? You can't beat New Zealand. New Zealand. I don't know if you guys create a lot of whey protein over there, but I know New Zealand's a massive producer of whey protein, and their standards for cattle, like they treat cattle better than humans over there. So,
well, there's more sheep in New Zealand than there are people.
Yeah,
just so you know.
So,
but
it's a massive industry, right?
It is, and New Zealand. Yeah. The reason why is because they get a lot more rain than we do, so they get a lot more beautifully green grass. Like Australia's
green grass.
Australia's been in a drought for the last 7,000 years, so it's a problem over here with the water. But in New Zealand, it's not. It's I think New Zealand, the just random silly tip for you guys out there. New Zealand, I'm going to get this wrong, so I don't even think I'll attempt. The cultural name for it is Aotearoa or something like that. And it means land of the, I think, again, I could be getting this wrong, land of the long white cloud, which, it just signifies how wet and rainy it can get over there. So the grass is just friggin' awesome. So the cows just bloody love it. So yeah, I think New Zealand's like the biggest producer of whey protein in the world.
Yeah. Yeah. And so anyway, that's a big thing too, because I'm sure there's a lot of dads that are using whey protein, and I see it at Costco, and Costco's not getting it from New Zealand. And a lot of the producers of whey protein are, US or Canada. And you just can't, you can't reason with the fact that those cows are not going to be grass-fed year-round.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, you just can't. Like, they're not walking around outside in the freezing cold with 2 feet of snow.
No, they don't. They might lose their mittens.
They might lose what?
Their mittens.
Their mittens. Yeah.
Me and Ev were talking.
Which would require those. Yeah, we should talk about what to do with mittens and how to keep those mittens on the cattle. So
yeah, we were talking about it in the pre-show about kids losing their mittens, and we said, we should talk about that. And it was like, well, half the listenership is over here, and we don't really have mittens, but we might lose our thongs at the beach. So
and when you say thongs at the beach, you know what I'm thinking?
Yes. I never thought of that. Any North Americans listening are like, what are you talking about?
I'm trying to keep the show PG here, Scott.
People lose their thongs at the beach? I really got to get to Australia.
Yeah, that sounds good. So tip for new dads. So we're going to just take a quick segue here. Tip for new dads. And I mean, get this right away, is there's these things, I don't know what they're called. I don't actually know if they have a name, because if you and your wife or your significant other are trying to find them, you won't have a name for them other than clips. Basically it's a clip that clips onto the jacket, right on the end of the sleeve. And then the other clip on the other end clips to the mitten. And so, I know it sounds ridiculous, but, when you have like more than one kid, even if you have one, mittens and hats, actually become a big challenge, and because they go lost, and, you can't find the mitten. Where's the mitten? You're trying to get out of the door. So these things are huge. So we were just talking about, like, the cows are going to need them. So you can clip one of the cows.
So, like, what rings a bell for me, and I don't know if this is in a movie or this was real life for me, is, those homemade mittens you get? Those woolen mittens that your mom knitted or your grandma knitted that, feel all right when you put them on inside, but as soon as you go outside and you pick up, like, a flake of snow on them, your hands are totally wet and frozen. Like, they're the worst mittens ever, really. But but what about those ones, those older ones that are knitted for you? And there's this real long piece of yarn between the two, and they're actually attached, and they're like a meter and a half apart that you string it. Do you know what the ones I'm talking about? You string them through your coat, and so if the mitts fly off, they actually don't get lost. Do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I don't see that anymore.
No,
I think that's a lost art.
Maybe you need to bring that back, Ev. Maybe that's the $1 million idea.
Yeah, maybe. I think the clips are probably making more money.
Yeah, hey, but you didn't make those up.
I didn't make them. You're right.
Now back to another point before we forget and people go off. For you North Americans out there, what are thongs on the beach? We didn't actually tell them what they actually are. Do you know, Ev?
Yeah. I know because you told me pre-show, so I think we should let the listeners guess.
Or maybe we shouldn't.
Okay. We can do it for another show.
No, thongs
Okay, first of all, what do you do? Where do you leave the thong? First of all, where do you leave it? Like, do you take it with you and lose it, or do you do something else with it? Like, what would you do? What would you recommend?
Well, with the kids,
you going with what? With the kids?
With the kids, yeah. You don't lose them; the kids lose them.
Okay.
So the best thing to do. The best thing to do is just leave them in the car.
Oh my God!
Right. So if you're going to the beach, just leave them in the car. You won't lose them.
Okay, so thongs in Australia means, we call them sandals?
Sandals,
flip-flops?
Flip-flops, yeah, flip-flops, yeah.
Okay, with the thong that goes like through the big toe?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, cool.
So
I'm getting used to the slang.
So just in case you guys were wondering, leave your kids' thongs in the car before you go to the beach. What? Yeah, no, that's why. Because you lose them, just like mittens. I guess the beach is like our snow, except just a million times better. Yeah,
for sure. And you know, not that we're comparing like where we live or anything, but if we were, so because I know there's a lot of people from Australia that want to live in Canada. I know that's a fact.
But they've never lived in Canada,
are you for real?
So they don't know.
Are you for real that? No, like really for our listeners, are you for real that losing thongs at the beach is a common thing?
Oh yeah, I mean, I was at the beach yesterday. Funny this comes up. I brought my daughter to the beach yesterday. She's doing surf lessons. So me and a mate of ours, both our daughters are in surfing. They go every Wednesday afternoon, learn how to surf at the beach. Yeah, it's hard to live here, and so we had them down there, and I had my thongs, and I was walking away. I was away from the car, probably 40, 50 meters away from the car, and then we got to the beach part, and it's just a thing that if you wear your thongs on the beach itself in the sand, the sand flicks up and just goes everywhere. So as soon as you walk on the beach, you pop your thongs off.
Yeah.
And I got to the beach and I took my thongs off. I was I normally leave them in the car. But I didn't. So we were far enough away from the car, and the kids were on the way to the beach. So I said, I'll just bring them down to the beach and leave them by the water and get them on the way back. And you know where this is going. So it's not just kids. And so surf lesson happens. Typically as dad, I'll get out a little bit into the water, up to my knees, sort of thing. And they've got their coaches, so I try and stay away. But I'm waving them on, and Rory catches a wave, and so wave and go, good job, and stuff like that. And then after lesson's over, walking back up to the beach, get up to the end of the beach where I took my thongs off in the first place. Even though I hadn't left them there, I brought them down to the beachfront with me. And I see another pair of thongs there that some other dude probably left there and forgot about. And I go, oh, I forgot my thongs. So I had to run back down probably 200 meters down the beach and go grab my thongs and bring them back. So absolutely, kids lose thongs at the beach all the bloody time. Just like losing mitts.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And probably people in Australia, like, you're totally wasting my time right now talking about mittens, but there's some listeners from Europe, Canada, places that get snow.
Oh yeah.
Because we rock, like we get winter sports and like ice hockey and stuff that real men play.
No, I agree with that, but ask any, like, I bet you those few Australians that said, oh man, I'd love to live in Canada, I bet you they never have. There's not too many that have lived in both and stayed there.
Yeah, well, no, yeah, and anybody who moves from Australia to like anywhere cold, I question the reason. For real, I really do.
Me too.
Like I know it's great living here, and I just don't want to travel to Australia because I'll probably end up moving there. And we're pretty well established here, so that would really turn things up. So let's get back to the meat topic. So we talked about beef. I think it's pretty clear. Grass-fed is the gold standard. Agreed on that?
Yes, absolutely. And chicken-fed, chicken I think are very, very similar. You want antibiotic-free, growth hormone-free. You want free range. And you just want them to be fed the way that they're fed. Now, what do chickens eat?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm asking you, what do chickens eat? Because they don't eat grass.
I think they actually do eat
grains.
Like, I've never seen a chicken eat anything but grain. So this actually goes...
We actually had chickens out the back. That's another great part of living in Australia. Is
yeah,
the
chickens
fact that,
actually, for real, they eat some insects.
Yeah,
I think they're like other birds, right? They would eat worms and insects and that kind of
I
thing.
remember, like we had, like I said, we had chickens out in our backyard.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very, very common thing over here in Australia to have a few chooks. Now, unfortunately, for us, but lots of people will have chooks because they lay eggs, right? And you get free range eggs.
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome. But our chooks
Yeah.
would go off to lay for just a year or two at a time, and then give us 3 eggs and then go off to lay again for that long. It sucked. We got these chickens for eggs and they never gave us eggs. But every time we'd find a grasshopper, we'd give it a whack with a thong. See, the thongs are very useful. Give it a whack with a thong, knock it out, throw it inside, and it'd be awesome. The chickens would like fight each other for these friggin' grasshoppers.
The grasshoppers. Yeah.
Grasshoppers over here are like 4 inches long, 5 inches long. They're massive.
That's like a whole meal. Yeah.
So they friggin' love them. They fight and rip the thing apart, and it's heaps of fun. But yeah, I think they eat mostly bugs.
So there it is. That's the gold standard right there. So if you can find chickens that are grasshopper fed, then that is the best chicken you can find.
They were good eggs.
And you know what? I don't think that a lot of chickens actually eat a natural diet. I think you'd be hard pressed to find a chicken that is. I think you could get eggs that are like pasture. I don't even know if like the eggs that they sell here. They call them free range. That's I think that's the best you can get. But as far as meat goes, I don't think you're going to find chickens that eat their natural food supply. It's just too expensive. So they feed them. I think the gold standard, as far as like gold standard, is definitely natural, but I don't think you're going to find it. Correct me if I'm wrong there, Scott. I think organic grain is probably the best you're going to do when it comes to chickens.
Yeah, like I said, unless you have your own chickens over here. But typically people who keep their own chickens in the backyard are for the eggs. They don't kill them and eat them,
Yeah. That's right. They have names.
They have names, yeah.
Yeah. And their kids are like in love with them. So
yes.
It's not going to work.
They're actually kind of fun. They actually have some personalities, these little chickens. They're kind of cool.
Oh, yeah, they're amazing.
Yeah.
If you can get your kids to a farm with alpacas and chickens, that makes for an amazing outing. We went to Manitoulin Island. It's the largest freshwater island in the world.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and
is that in Canada?
It's in Canada.
Oh,
so
wow.
it's in.
What a great place to live.
What a great nation! Like we have a lot of we have a lot of things. I mean, yeah, it's the place to be. So anyway, you can go to this Manitoulin Island place, and they have an alpaca farm, and there's chickens there, and you get to like pet the alpacas, and they're super friendly with kids. It's amazing. And alpaca wool, this is just like a little side fact, is something like 10 times warmer than wool.
Huh.
It's just like a far superior product. So and again, you guys would probably never touch the stuff because you don't need more warmth there. But
to be honest, there is actually snow here, so there would be people that wear mittens.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Okay.
I'm in the sort of northern half of Australia, so definitely no snow up here. But there's mountains. There's skiing here. So you didn't know that, did you?
I did know that. Yeah,
you did know that. Oh, because that makes
Yeah.
it like if you want winter, you can go there. But if you don't, then you don't have to go there. Canada, you don't have a choice. Anyway, So
it's like being in prison here.
A little bit, just a little bit. A cold prison, though. And the third one is, and the third one is the fish. Now, ideally, you want wild fish. And that's becoming less and less of a commonality as well. Talking about raising the bar, setting the bars. Farmed fish, grain-fed fish. They do it with fish too to fatten them up. So you want wild, ocean-going fish, ideally. So you want to buy a boat and some fishing rods, and just go out there and catch them yourself. That's the best way to do it. But
that is the best way, and that happens in Australia
all the time.
All the time.
Yeah. Not as much in Canada.
not so much in Gold Coast though.
Oh, heaps on the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
All over the place.
All the time?
All the time. There's tons of it here. But in Canada, right, it's really just like dig a hole in the ice and try and like freeze your bum off while you stuck this little tiny thing down a frozen lake pond thing. Yeah. So, anyways,
and that's only that, and you get to do that for like 4 months of the year, and then the other months of the year you could jump in a boat and paddle your butt onto the lake and throw your line in the water and catch fish that way. This is true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you could, just take your snowmobile over and sit there. And I've never done it. I think it's, I'd like to try it just to see what it's like. But
ice fishing?
I'm not a big fisherman myself. Yeah.
No. Yeah, me neither. I'm not a big fisherman, but I have gone ice fishing before.
Okay.
Yeah, no comment, but I have gone. And
but that didn't happen in Australia though. You couldn't do that. You couldn't do that there. See?
I don't think so. So if you want to do that,
then do that on the mountain.
If you want to do that one, take a trip. But so guys, we really didn't get too far with raising the bar. I think we are going to maybe clue up just a little bit around P number 2, power, with raising the bar. Maybe we'll do a separate one on each of these.
Oh. Yeah. Okay.
Right, because we're already like 31 minutes in.
Before we win?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's just pound this. So the status on dads right now, it's like generalization. First of all, it's totally acceptable from a health perspective for a dad to be completely working all the time. Burnout, working 60 hours a week, 80, glamorized even. What did you say earlier, Scott? It was like
hustle and the grind.
The hustle, the grind, the burnout. Like it's like dads. It's like they're nudging each other, talking about how many hours they work. Okay, this is barking up the wrong tree. This is setting the ladder up against the wrong building.
Another big one that you'd mentioned earlier in the pre-show as well is it's the norm to be 30, 40, 50 pounds overweight, which is about the 20, 30 kilo range. That's just the norm, right? Let alone outside.
That's totally acceptable.
And this, I think there's a big distinction to be made here, the difference between common and normal.
Yeah.
Right?
Common and normal. So normal is not to be 30, 40 pounds overweight. There's so many health risks and problems, and the experience of life is just not going to be anywhere near as far as like your ability to, do the things you need to do, have the energy, the agility. You're just not going to be performing at your optimum with that kind of extra weight. Like, just think about it. Like, grab 30 pounds, go to a gym, grab 30 pounds, and see how heavy that is. Okay. So, if there's any dads that are like, no, he's full of crap, like it doesn't really make a difference. Grab 30 pounds, walk around with that. Now imagine that's not on your body. Like, you are going to feel and look way better, and you're going to live longer. Like, it's just, not having that extra weight and all the health issues that come with it. You're putting yourself into a position to live a happier, healthier life. So basically the standard is low. It's super low, 30 to 40 pounds overweight, working all the time, that being glamorized, working hard, and burnout, all that stuff. So what's the new standard? What's the standard? What do we want to make the standard?
Well, yeah, I mean, the new standard is whatever we want it to be, but I think as dads out there, we need to start thinking about ourselves as the powerful men that we are, taking care of ourselves, like actually making it a point to go, you know what, I'm worth this. And if I can become a better man, I'm definitely going to be a way better dad and set an example for my kids, like if nothing else.
Yeah.
I've got friends out there that, put their kids first. Like, and, I'm saying there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, but it's that whole idea of like, if the mask drops down in the airplane, they say, put your mask on first and then put your kid's mask on. Because if you don't, by the time you try and get your kid's mask on, you're going to suffocate, and then you both die. It's an extreme example, but your kids will do what you do more than what you say. And so if you're not taking care of your health, like, then that's what they see the world as. That is then their normal, right? Because that's what they grow into. So by taking care of yourself, it is so not just for you, it is for your kids to get the best dad possible and for them to have a healthy role model. So diet and exercise are just so vitally important, and they have the spanning effect of everything else into your life. You will definitely have a better relationship with your partner if you look and feel better. You will definitely have a better relationship with your kids. You will definitely have a better relationship with your job and with yourself and with your purpose and with your passion and with literally everything. It's like one of the core principles of just being awesome. So I think the new standard is not necessarily be like Ev with his Mr. Ripped abs, comparing with his super ripped abs of his wife on Instagram. Check it out, guys. You know, I mean, I don't think that should be like a standard, because that's pretty bloody hard. I've been trying for a long time, but then I just can't do it. Anyway, no, that's not the point. But you know, to just be fit, to do what you want to be able to do, to step up.
Yeah, and actually, let's talk about mental health, emotional health. What do you think where the bar is set right now for the average dad around their mental and emotional well-being?
Well, I think that's like a big kettle of fish. Let's touch on that, but I think that's a whole episode. I think we'll release that as a full episode. But I think the mental health of dads is horrendous, to be honest. Yeah. Because I think that's where how we get to be the way we are physically is because our mental capacity is so low and the standard is so low as dads.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually don't even know if there's, like, if we had a chart, I don't even think it would be on the chart. Because I don't even think it's talked about, you know, like, you know, how often do you see, like, dads, like, you know, hey man, how you doing? No, like, really, like, what's happening for you? Like, there's none of that.
There's none.
You know, it's like, dude, like, suck it up. You know, oh, you didn't sleep? Oh, poor baby. You know, like, there's no support. So even if a dad was having a hard time, chances are, like, he's not talking about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which makes matters even worse. And that in itself is, you know, just speaks to the standard. The standard is that if something's not going well, tuck it under the rug. Too bad. Like, suck it up, make money. Like, that's pretty much, I would say that's pretty much the standard. Would you agree?
Yeah, and we put a lot of emphasis on that as a standard. You know, the whole keeping up with the Joneses or the Riches or who is it? Is it the Joneses? Keeping up with them?
Yeah.
You know, the Joneses. I don't know any Joneses, but anyway, keeping up with the Joneses. You know, what car do you drive? What you know, how many holidays did you take? And you know, this and that and the other thing, as opposed to, hey man, how's life? Like, you happy, dude? Like, what's going on here? Yeah. So I think we should dive deep into that one in a very next episode, maybe. Let's do that. Sure. Let's go through all 5, because I think we've really only got through part of P number 2 power in this episode. But we're going to break down these all 5 of these. So how about we leave it at that? Do you have any other closing comments, Ev?
Yeah, and I think, you know, just for the listeners, the goal is to set a new standard. Let's have a new conversation as to what is normal. It's not about being, like, fitting in, because fitting in right now is not a good idea. You know, we want to be the example. We want to be the ones that stand out, because the fitting in sucks. It's a scam. You know, it's like, who created this? Who created this? This is nonsense. Who created that? It's okay that, you know, we're all walking around looking way older than we are, tired, not happy. Most dads, not happy with, you know, the fact that, you know, they don't have balanced lives. They don't have the time they want with their family. They don't have time for themselves. They're not exercising. They don't feel strong. Their body's not how it was. You know, they're not feeling, you know, attractive, self-confident, all these things. How did this even get created? It's ridiculous. So it's like, no, that's it. You know, like let's create a new conversation for dads. This is the status quo. This is the new status quo we're setting. This is the new standard. And the standard is that we take care of ourselves. You know, like we put ourselves first, because that's Scott's good. Like, you have to fill up your own cup. You literally have to put resources into yourself. You got to build yourself up, and with that, everybody benefits. You know, people have this conversation. I'm going to close with this, Scott, real quick.
Yeah.
You know, people talk, well, I don't want to be selfish, and it's like, well, all right, so you have cancer now. How does that work out? Okay, because now everybody in the whole family has to deal with, you know, taking care of you. So would you prefer that or taking care of yourself and calling that selfish? Well, I'd rather take care of myself and call that selfish than having my whole family have to go through the pain of me having some sort of chronic disease or illness. And that's really what it boils down to. Like, this is no joke, guys. You know, when we're talking about these standards of this diet and all that, we're laughing, we're having fun, but reality is that these choices of eating poorly and getting poor nutrition and these sorts of things, and, you know, and just the general head in the sand, not putting health as top priority, is creating a lot of sick people and creating a lot of suffering in families that isn't needed. And that's just high level. Now, if we get into like being available mentally, emotionally, physically with our children and the impact that has as dads when we're available for them, that is absolutely massive in the health of their life, you know? So this is not only about us, this is about creating a generation of kids that feel loved, that have that connection with their dads, that are going to help them have healthy relationships moving into their next generation. That is why we're doing this.
Awesome. I think it was Ayn Rand, the famous philosopher, who said, being selfish is the most selfless thing you can do. And so, guys, that'll be it for today's episode. Dr. Scott and Dr. Ev signing off. And remember, an ancient proverb once said, for a man to achieve his dreams, he must first wake up.
Wake up.
Dad, you're not alone. This is your wake-up call. We're in this together, all for one and one for all.
Do you want to know more about the Wake Up Dad movement? Go to www.thewakeupdadshow.com to download any and all past issues of the show. Claim your free gift. Continue the conversation on the Facebook group Wake Up Dad. Share this podcast with other dads on iTunes or Google Play. Make sure to subscribe to the show and give us a rating so we can reach more dads. And dads, one last thing. Wake up!